Hey everybody, it's Galmadex and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing a sealed event of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. I have been thoroughly enjoying my time with the drafts, have been getting just a ton of 7-win runs. It's been super fun and a variety of cool decks to play in the format. So let's see how we do in sealed today. And yeah, without further ado, let's just hop into this event and see what we open up in our 6 packs to build from. Alright, so here are our rares, and we have some spicy stuff. The Wandering Emperor is an excellent mythic. I played this in one of my draft decks, and it's absolutely absurd. She is a 4-mana planeswalker that starts with 3 loyalty. You can cast her at instant speed, and if she entered the battlefield this turn, you can activate her loyalty abilities anytime you could cast an instant. So not only can you flash her in during your opponent's turn to go ahead and spit out a Samurai, and then spit out another Samurai on your turn, making her at worst 4 mana for 2/2/2 Samurai with Vigilance. You can also just flash her in during your combat step to surprise your opponent by putting a +1/+1 counter on one of your creatures and giving it first strike and making sure you win that combat. So a lot of great stuff on the Wandering Emperor. She also doesn't have an ultimate, which you could consider as a downside in some ways, in that you can't just sit there and +1 and then have a guaranteed way to win the game. But the fact that she doesn't have an ultimate, I think, makes her just better in Limited, because these abilities are all just more relevant and a lot quicker to get to. You can just use her as an instant speed, exile a tapped creature, gain 2 life removal spell. It's like your opponent declares their attack, and before they even deal combat damage, kill that card, gain 2 life. She's just absolutely absurd, and we're going to try very hard to play white today. We also have another white rare, the Restoration of Ijongo. This one is a saga. 3 mana to search your library for a basic plains, reveal it, put it into your hand, then you can discard a card. When you do, return a permanent with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, and then turn it into a 3/4 Vigilance that creates a 1/1 spirit token every time it attacks or blocks. So very similar to Brimaz from the old Theros sets that would make a little 1/1 cat every time it attacked or blocked. This card seems great. No matter what, you're drawing a plains, which isn't a great card, but it's still drawing a card, and then you're potentially getting a card back from your grave, and then you're spitting out a really big threat. A 3/4 Vigilance that makes more cards on your board is pretty great. We have 2 black rares after that. Mukotai Soul Ripper, which is really nice in a deck with a lot of cheap artifacts and creatures, tokens and stuff. So really good in the Rakdos kind of artifact sacrifice deck. Solid in any other deck. It's 2 mana for a 4/3 vehicle that crews for only 2. So that's like the worst case scenario. When it attacks, you can sack an artifact or creature to put a +1/+1 counter on it and give it menace until end of turn. So super nice with expendable creatures. If we go black-white, it'll work really well with the spirit tokens produced by the Architect of Restoration. We could play a pretty aggressive white-black deck with our white and black rares all being pretty cheap. Next is Nashi, Moon Sage's Scion. I've never read this card before. This is 2 black and 1 for a 3/2 legendary rat ninja. You can ninjutsu it out for 4, so return an unblocked attacker to your hand to put this onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Because you put it onto the battlefield after your creature's already declared unblocked, it's after the blocker's step, so it's guaranteed to hit your opponent if you ninjutsu it. And when it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library, and until the end of your turn, you may play one of those cards, and you can cast it paying a life instead of its mana cost. This card's great. Wow, this card seems absurd and limited. If you get them out early, hit your opponent one time and then just cast some big spell for free. Sure, you got to pay a lot of life, but if you're on the aggressive, that's going to be super easy to do. Yeah, I'm loving the look of potential black-white aggro deck with these rares. Just seems excellent. But we do have a red and a green rare, and both of them seem pretty good too. Ogre Head Helm, I'm a huge fan of this one. This is 2 mana for a 2/2. Whenever it or equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you can sacrifice it. If you do, discard your hand, draw 3 cards. That ability is not super relevant most of the time, but late game, once you're out of things to do, if you can get this in, that's going to be helpful. What I really like this card for is its reconfigure ability. So this is a 2 mana 2/2 that is an equipment creature. So for 3 mana, you can reconfigure this and equip it to a different creature to give that creature +2/+2. So it's super, super flexible. It comes out as a 2 mana 2/2 that hits your opponent, and then later in the game, when they have stuff that can block your 2/2s well, you can just slap this onto a different creature to make that like a 4/4 or a 5/5, something bigger that lets that get in. Then once that creature dies, equip this to another creature. If you've seen my quick draft of Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, the one that I did when they brought it back, that was a white-black equipment deck. One of the equipment cards that we used to great use in that deck was the +2 Mace. That's a 2 mana equipment that requires 3 mana to equip and gives equipped creature +2/+2. This is that, but also a 2 mana 2/2 creature, and also a potential way to draw cards late game. So while it doesn't look really impactful for a rare, it's like cheap, it's just low cost, it just like kind of sits there, does a little bit of work. The fact that it has all these different abilities, a lot of flexibility on the card, I think makes it pretty good. And then we have Weaver of Harmony. Probably the weakest rare here, maybe tied for Soul Ripper for that, because Soul Ripper is a little specific in getting it to work well. This is a 2 mana 2/2 enchantment creature, Snake Druid. Other enchantment creatures you control get +1/+1, and for 1 mana you can tap it to copy an activated or triggered ability you control from an enchantment source. You may choose new targets for the copy. So actually, this is probably better than Soul Ripper. Yeah, this actually does seem pretty good. So it's for a very specific strategy, but it's really good in that strategy. The ideal place for this would be a green-white enchantment deck, because all of your creatures tend to be enchantment creatures, plus it's super good with like Saga abilities. Let's say you get the first ability on this Saga, you want to draw another planes out of your deck, just play a green, tap this, and now you're grabbing another planes. It's good with any activated abilities on them as well, instead of just triggered abilities. So yeah, I really like the second ability on this card. Just works really well with Sagas. That seems pretty fun. So really, really nice rares in this sealed pool. There isn't a single rare here that I would say is a dud. So big fan of that. But first and foremost, we're going to take a look at our white and potentially our white-black aggro. And white is looking good. Oh my god. Very likely to play white here. So let's take a look for the mono white. Not a lot of creatures. 6 creatures here, but we do have 3 Sagas that turn into creatures, and we have some really quality cards here in white. So a nice aggressive hotshot mechanic, 1 mana 2/1 here to get out early. Era of Enlightenment's a great Saga. Pretty much all the Sagas are pretty good. Scry 2, then gain 2, then get a 2/2 first striker. Blade Blizzard Kitsune is awesome. Just play this as a 3 mana 2/2 double strike and you're always happy. Sometimes you'll ninjutsu it out to sneak in some more damage. Golden Tailed Disciple's a great blocker, really hard to race the card because it's got lifelink too, so quite an annoying card. The Fall of Lord Konda is great removal later in the game. Removes a card and lets you draw a card off this when it dies. We already spoke about our rares. We have double Goshintai of Shared Purpose, which is a 4 mana 1/3 legendary Vigilant Shrine that can spit out a 1/1 spirit during your end step if you have the extra mana for it. So that's going to be good, especially in black-white where we have that rare that wants us to sacrifice creatures. So it'll be a good combo with that. And then if you look at our non-creature stuff, that's what I'm really excited about here. We have 3 Intercessor's Arrest, an excellent removal spell. Enchant any permanent. So you can enchant a vehicle with this. You can enchant a planeswalker with this. You make it so that card can't attack, block, or crew vehicles, or use its activated abilities. So super good. There's a lot of pretty good vehicles in the set, so being able to have something that not only kills creatures, but can kill a vehicle, even if it isn't crewed, is really nice. Having a card that can kill a planeswalker is nice, and this essentially kills any creatures as well, and we have 3 copies of that. Absolutely love it. Banishing Slash is a card that's also super, super good. Anything that just says destroy an artifact or enchantment, already main deckable, playable removal in the format, because there's so many artifact creatures and enchantment creatures, and that's not even to mention Sagas and vehicles. And this one does that, or destroys a tapped creature, and it does that for only 2 mana. And every now and then it even spits out a 2/2 Samurai with Vigilance if you happen to have an artifact enchantment on your board when you cast this. So an excellent, excellent card. And then if we get really aggressive, we have 3 solid combat tricks. Light the Way to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature and untap it, or a double Regent's Authority to do +3/+3 till end of turn, or +2/+2 and a +1/+1 counter on an enchantment creature. So love the white here, and definitely going to take a look at the black now to see if this is the dream sealed pool where you just get to go the color pair of your best rares. And that just reminded me, I wanted to scroll over here to the artifacts and the multicolored cards just to see if we have any really good artifacts. And our artifacts all seem pretty okay. Nothing super exciting. Maybe a brute suit in here, I don't know. But in multicolored, we do have Naomi, Pillar of Order as well, which shows off the white-black theme of the set, which is having an artifact and enchantment out. And if you have both of those down, Naomi is quite powerful. A 5-mana 4/4 that spits out a 2/2 samurai if you have an artifact and an enchantment, and then does it again every time she attacks. Super good if we go down white-black and have enough artifact creatures to... or just artifacts in general, to get that to trigger. So now let's put every black card into the deck, and then cut out the worst of the black cards and see if we've got a deck here, and it really does look like it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out these white combat tricks here, because we have multiple just flat-out removal spells in white, and we've got multiple flat-out removal spells in black, it looks like. So we're probably going to want to cut those. So let's see what we have here in black. We have the Dokuchi Silencer at 2 mana, which is really fun to play around with and a very powerful card. You can ninjutsu this out for only 2 mana. When you do, you'll return your unblocked creature to your hand, and then when this deals combat damage to a player, you can discard a creature card to destroy one of their creatures. So you can just discard whatever you put back in your hand to kill their better creature they didn't want to block with. So basically, like, you attack with your hotshot mechanic into a 3/2 of theirs, right? And they get to choose, do they want to trade or not? And if they choose that they don't want to trade with their 3/2, then you could just ninjutsu this out and be like, well, we're trading anyway, you know? Because then you just discard the hotshot mechanic to kill the 3/2, so you still trade with their card and deal damage to them if they don't block. So really like that kind of combo with the Silencer. And it's also just a good way to potentially kill big creatures of your opponents. Leech Gauntlet is fantastic. It's an artifact creature that's a 2-mana 2/2 lifelink. It doesn't need any other text for it to be great in this deck because we want artifacts and enchantments on the board, and a 2-mana 2/2 lifelinker is a good deal. But this also has the ability to reconfigure later for 4 mana to give something else lifelink if you have a bigger creature, and your opponent has 3/3s, so your 2/2s don't matter anymore. Just spend 4 and give your 4/4 lifelink or something like that. Pretty happy to see that. Here at 3 mana, we have Chainflail Centipede, another reconfigure card I like a lot. Because it's by itself, it's a 3-mana 2/2, not a great blocker, but during attacks, it's a 4/2, which is a pretty good attacker. Plus, you can spend 2 mana to reconfigure this to give any of your other attacking creatures +2/+0. Great on a lifelinker. This starts attacking as a 4/3 lifelink. That's incredibly hard to race. Great on a flyer like Gravelighter. This starts attacking as a 4/2 flyer. So it just gets a lot of damage in there. Love that. Nezumi Blade Blesser is a little awkward, but it works with the enchantment and artifact theme. So it's not always going to have the abilities we want it to. Sometimes it'll just be a 3-mana 3/2, but if we've got an artifact enchantment down, it'll be nice. Undercity Scrounger is particularly great in like black-red, where you have a lot of good ways to sacrifice artifacts, so you can sack the treasure token for good value, but it would still be okay in this deck because we want artifact creatures, and it's a 3-mana 1/4 worst case scenario. Nashi the Moon Sage's Scion is excellent. We already talked about that with the rares. Oh, and Undercity Scrounger does combo with the Mokutai Soul Ripper. This can sacrifice an artifact or a creature, so it can sacrifice a treasure token to get that value. So that's really nice. Mukutai Ambusher definitely going in this deck. 4-mana 3/2 lifelink with a cheap ninjutsu ability that's also an artifact creature. Kami of Terrible Secrets is going to go in the deck because we're going for a deck that has a lot of artifacts and enchantments. And then Kami of Restless Shadows is probably not. Don't know if we have enough ninjas and rogues to make this work particularly well. It's a Gravedigger for just ninjas and rogues, so bring a ninja or rogue from your grave back to your hand, or put any creature on top of your library. Really don't want to have to put one on top of library. Much prefer to put it in hand. And we only have 5 ninjas or rogues. Yeah, probably not playing the Kami of Restless Shadows. In the non-creature slot, we have the Reckoner Shakedown, which is a pretty solid discard spell, because you take the best card from their hand and make them discard it, or if they don't have anything good, you have a backup plan of putting a couple counters on a card. But I generally don't like running discard spells. They're just not my cup of tea. Plus, we have a lot of competition in our non-creature cards here, so we really need to make room, because we have a lot that are just incredible that we aren't going to cut. The Wandering Emperor, 3 Arrests, a Banishing Slash, and a Twisted Embrace, or 2 Twisted Embraces. We're just not going to cut any of those because they're incredible. So kind of have to cut the cards like Shakedown, Return to Action, Bargain, Clawing Torment. The cards that are good, but not as good as the other just incredible non-creature stuff. So I think I'm cutting Brute Suit as well. And then we still need to cut 5 more cards, which is insane. Lethal Exploit would probably be my first non-creature cut if we cut anything else from now on, because it's just -2/-2. Potentially more if you have modified creatures. Modified creatures are those with equipment, auras you control, or counters. So if your opponent uses Intercessor's Arrest on your creature, it's technically still not modified because it's modified by an aura they control, not an aura you control. So that wouldn't help with Lethal Exploit. But it's still -2/-2 for only 2 mana, but I think it's worse than the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 removal spells we have here, so we probably do cut it. And then we still need to cut 4 more cards. We have a lot going on at 3, so I probably want to cut some of those. Blade Blesser seems a little bit iffy, because it isn't always going to have the ability we want. Having 2 Ghost Shintai is a little awkward, because if we draw both of them, we'll be sad. So I'll probably just cut one of that, because it's just an easy, simple cut there. What else? The Fall of Lord Khand is another card that might just be too narrow when compared to our other removal, since it only removes big creatures. Sometimes it'll sit in our hand and do absolutely nothing. At least even the -2/-2 spell will always be able to be cast. So I don't know. I'm actually going to take the Fall of Lord Khand out as well. Maybe the Scrounger or the Centipede. We need to cut 2 more cards, so 2 of these 3 mana creatures I think are going to be the final cuts, and then I'm probably just going to run with this deck. This deck seems sick. So cutting 2 of these. I think I'm going to cut the Blade Blesser and then the Undercity Scrounger, because the only thing we have that works really well with the Scrounger is the Soul Ripper. Everything else, like, we don't really need treasure tokens. We don't have a lot of 4 or 5 mana cards. And I really like the reconfigure on the Centipede to work with our Lifelinkers, which we have 2 of, and our Flyers, which we have... I guess we only have like 1 of the Flyers, but still, I do love reconfigure cards like Chainflail Centipede. The mechanic has just always played quite well for me. So I think this is going to be the deck. Just a really sweet Orzhov deck here. Really good white-black balance stuff. The order between the old and the new, the artifacts and the enchantments. Really, really cool stuff. Yeah, this is definitely going to be the deck. I am excited to get into the gameplay and see how it does today. Alright, game 1, we're in it. We've got a good hand here. Both colors and a nice curve. 2-drop, 3-drop, and 4-drop. Might even play our Silencer rather than our Saga here to get aggressive. And it makes it so it's more likely we could ninjutsu out the Ambusher if we want to. See what our opponent has here on their turn 2. They might go ahead and give this -2/-2 with the common removal spell in black. It's a possibility. They've got a blue and a black up here, sitting at 20 life, 7 cards in hand. Leech Gauntlet it is. We've got one of those in our sealed pool. We've certainly seen the card. Nice stuff there. I'm going to offer the trade with that, because I think it would be a good trade for us. Alright, they're just going to get the Silencer out of the way. They do not want to have to deal with that ability later, which is fair enough, but we don't have any really expendable creatures that we want to discard from our hand to destroy any of their stuff, so I like just trading off with the Leech Gauntlet immediately there. So now we've got our Golden Tail Disciple down, nice 2/3 lifelinker, and a Covert Technician from our opponent. Unlikely to do a lot, basically a 3 mana 2/4. Whenever it deals combat damage to us, they get to spit out a creature from their... spit out an artifact from their hand, with mana value less than or equal to the damage they dealt. So it's not a super effective ability, and they're not even that likely to hit us, especially because we have multiple 3 toughness creatures down here. So, Technician, just like good power and toughness for the mana cost, a 3 mana 2/4. Definitely like having a bunch of just nonsense 3 toughness creatures to annoy our opponent here. In the blue-black matchup, Wandering Emperor is a great draw. We'll just pass turn. It's going to look really suspicious because we're not going to pay the 1 for the 1/1 Spirit, but whatever they play around here, the Wandering Emperor is like the least likely card for it to be because it's a mythic rare, so I doubt they'll play around the Wandering Emperor. Although maybe they do, maybe they will, because they are the wandering ones. Maybe they are highly aware of the card. So I think I'm just going to slam down the Wandering Emperor in their end step to create a 2/2, but if they crew the Soul Ripper and attack in with it, I might just slam down the Wandering Emperor to exile the Soul Ripper. Exile a tapped creature. Dokushi Silencer's coming down. Just a 2/1 here because it's very unlikely to hit us. They might sack it to the Soul Ripper. They have to sack something to have a good attack here, because otherwise we can just double block really easily. If they sack something, it'll have 4 toughness, so we can no longer double block easily. Alright, well, I actually don't need to use the Wandering Emperor here, because they kill one of our cards, we kill one of theirs. It's a fine trade. I'd absolutely just take that trade there. Alright, so the trade occurs, then we'll just get some Samurai from the Emperor. Unless they have the Crab to cycle counter unless we pay 3. Alright, fair enough. We still stop everything on their board with just our 2/3, and they only have 2 cards in hand, we've got 3. Definitely still winning the game here. So not the end of the world. I think I just scry 2 here. Hold our blockers at bay. Well, we got a lot of removal coming up, so we will be safe from whatever nonsense they have coming up. I could remove the Technician and attack in, but then they can hit us and discard a card from hand to kill Disciple. Although at this point they have 5 mana up. Any creatures they haven't played are likely to be pretty expensive and probably better than Disciple anyway. So if they want to discard one to kill Disciple, is that okay with me? I still don't think it is. I think I'm going to pass. Because they could always top deck a 2 or 3 mana creature to kill our Disciple with. That would not be good. Yeah, like I'd be unhappy if they discarded either of those 2 to kill Disciple. Okay. So Acquisition Octopus is a card draw engine. Could let them just keep drawing cards from this point on, so I think I want to get rid of that. To kind of try to keep them behind on cards here. But we're probably killing the Automaton next, because it's going to be a really big creature with Ward. It already has 3 power to hit us, so they could get a ninjutsu off. If they have 1, they only have 1 card left in hand, and they'd remove all the counters if they go for ninjutsu, so probably not. Cool. They do not. Now, I am worried about the Arm Guard familiar here. That is a bummer. Because of the reconfigure. That can really take over the game here. Make sure all of their creatures are big enough to attack in. Just send in one by one and whittle down our board. So is that more important to kill than the Automaton? Actually, I think it is. We'll just take Automaton damage for a bit. Alright, well, opponent's drawing pretty well here. They haven't drawn a land drop in a few turns. So, they basically... I think they're even past the point of turning it into a top deck war. We had card advantage, and then now our opponent does. Although, if they don't attack in, they kind of just turned it into a top deck war. Because I guess we can double block Automaton and still just kill it. So yeah, we're at parity now. We're staring each other down. Seeing who will draw better. So far, our opponent is winning that battle. We've got 8 mana already. Oh my god. Now they've shut off our lifelinking blocker as well. Just very, very bad for us. Yeah, that is awful. We are handedly losing the draw war, the card draw war here. Alright, Twisted Embrace is pretty big. This Ward 2. So we do have enough to pay the ward cost on the automaton. What do we put the embrace on, though? We could put it on our Golden Tail Disciple so that we can attack in and trade up into the Ambusher still. Because otherwise it's just going to bounce off the Ambusher when we're attacking with it. So that makes it so it actually like genuinely attacks here. And gains back the life that it's losing. Could also just put it on our own Ambusher to make it a 4-3 lifelinker so it's harder to attack into. Because otherwise they can keep sending the Technician in. Yeah, let's send in the Disciple. Alright, they're going to do the Ambusher block. Now let's make a 4-power Ambusher. So we have the Hand of Enlightenment to block their Mokutai Ambusher, and our Mokutai Ambusher to block their Covert Technician. Or Mukutai, not Mokutai. So now we have a Mukutai Soul Ripper. Crew 2, we can crew it off of just the hand. We'll definitely play it, but I don't think we're getting attacks in. Definitely a game of luck here again, game of chance. Who's going to draw the sweet stuff? Leech Gauntlet's a great draw. I don't even know if I want to modify a card or just have a 2-2 lifelinker to block with. Let's us crew the Soul Ripper and still have a first strike blocker up. We crew the Soul Ripper. It's a 4-3. It just trades into Ambusher. I think we just pass. I'm actually going to play the land now. Because with Leech Gauntlet, if we get to 8 mana, we can equip it to something attack and then unequip it to block or crew. Ooh, Naomi, Pillar of Order. Should really potentially change things around here. That's a 4-4 and a 2-2 Samurai. And every time she attacks, we get another one. So we'll definitely send in an attack with her eventually. What does the Soul Ripper trade for? If we attack in, we give it Menace. We make it a 5-4 Menace. 5-4 Menace, 4 Toughness. They have to do 4 damage. We only have 5 power, though, so they could double block with these two. That's 6 power. We only kill one of the 2. But that gets them out of the way for Naomi. I think we do crew. I think we just crew attack, sack the Samurai. Yeah, we've drawn really well now. Get the 3-4 out of the way to help Naomi get in. Let's go for the 2-4 and the 3-2. Yeah, that's definitely better. I think I kill the life linker then, if that's how they're going to block here. They block Naomi with these two then, and then we kill the 2-4, and they don't have like anything that can attack us at least. Yep. I think I am cool with that. I guess I probably shouldn't have sacrificed something. If I didn't sacrifice something, they just get the single block and choose what they trade off with it, so they could have just blocked with like just the Guardians, I guess. But still, didn't feel like that ended up going as well as I was hoping for. So we attack with Naomi and she trades into just the Guardians. Or just a Covert Technician. They can block with a 2-4 and a 2-1. But we get a 2-2 in the process. Attack with the Ambusher, it trades into just the Guardians. Yeah, no, this board is actually just still too cluttered. I don't think I should have went for the vehicle attack there. Those were the errors of a much more hopeful man. The folly of youth that I had in that era. Now we might just slowly die to a 1/1 flyer. Because, like, they can just 1-for-1 trade there, 1-for-1 trade by double blocking there. And then, ooh, Banishing Slash. That might change things. Get another 2/2 off of this. We can get rid of their 2/2 Menace, or their 2/4 blocker. Which I think we want to get rid of their 2/4 blocker. If we get rid of that, they only have a 3/4 and a 2/1 to block, but the only way they kill Naomi is to double block, and then the rest gets through. Yeah, no, that's huge. That's massive. We kill that. Attack with these both. Give Naomi lifelink here. Yeah, this should actually turn the tides. For real this time, instead of just in my dreams. Because now they're down to a 2/1 to block with. And everything else is going to keep getting in. And we have another 2/2. And I don't even need to reconfigure because Naomi died. The plan there was to play this and then reconfigure to unattach Leech Gauntlet, but now I've realized I don't even need to do that. So there's the Long Reach of Night. Makes us sack a creature, discard a card. We'll just discard a card there, and then if we draw land, we'll hold it in hand to discard again. Hotshot Mechanic. I could just sacrifice that, playing it on the board, so let's just attack everybody. Probably trade with the Leech Gauntlet here. Yep. But everything else gets in and is going to keep getting in. I guess I'd rather sacrifice the Hotshot Mechanic than any of the other creatures. So I might as well discard it. Two Vigilance is better than a 2/1. So I'll keep the 2/2 Vigilance cards. Alright, they're in blocking mode now. They can double block the Ambusher. Everything else is a 1-for-1 trade. The 2-for-1 trade is taken. We've got 3 creatures. They've got the one big Menace card that only gets additional power when it attacks. So it's not a good blocker. So we get to keep attacking with 3 2/2s each turn. It's 28 life to us to 10 to them now. They can try to race us with the Menace creature. It is attacking for 7 power, but it's going to need some backup to outrace us. And there's some backup. A 2/4 is really big against a bunch of 2/2s, but there's some backup for us. A Twisted Embrace. I think we blow up the 2/4 here. So we can keep attacking. Let them try to outrace us. Because they're down to 6, if they attack with the Animus, they have to play another creature to block with, and then they still go down to 4. So I don't think they can afford to attack with Animus. Unless they play like 2 creatures. Yep, so they pass turn. Chainflail Centipede's an excellent draw because it immediately impacts the board. As well as being another creature to attack with next turn. Alright, destroy the 3/3 first striker. Take 4 thanks to the Chainflail Centipede. I'm going to leave the Centipede attached for now. Because it makes it so they can't kill it with destroy target creature spells. They can only kill the Samurai. And it's the most important creature on our board by far, because it's a 4/2 instead of a 2/2 against a 0/4. And it looks like our opponent just probably has lands in hand. No way to survive the fact that we have 3 different creatures attacking them next turn, because we can reconfigure the Centipede. So even if they play another blocker, then instead of leaving this here, we would unattach it, have 3 creatures attacking them. That's just part of the really powerful flexibility of Reconfigure there. If we need 1 creature with 4 power to attack in, so that we can attack into a card like Animus, then we can do that. If we need 3 creatures to attack in to be able to chip damage in past 1 blocker, we can also do that just by reconfiguring. So absolutely love Reconfigure. So that was a grindy game. That was not my favorite kind of game. It's probably kind of obvious in my commentary, and my bad if it's a little off-putting, but I really, really, really dislike games where we get into a position where each player just sits there drawing a card off the top, and it's like, all right, who's going to draw the better cards? I hate that a lot. So that's why I really like formats like Strixhaven, where you have like learns and lesson spells, and it feels like each player just always has plenty of options and cards in their hand throughout the game. I hate it when both players run out of cards and the board states are at parity, so you're just staring at each other seeing who's going to draw the scarier card first. See how it goes here in game 2. Definitely love the hand, but against a red deck, they're likely to have just a lot of cheap removal. I feel like this has been a thing in pretty much every recent draft format. Red is always just great. Red always feels like one of the top 2 colors, because the red removal is just always ridiculously good. Just 1 mana instant speed 2 damage, or potentially 4 damage. There's also the 2 mana instant speed 3 damage. It's like they just give them both. Like in Crimson Vow, they had a Braid for 2 mana instant speed 3 damage, and Blood Blessed Bolt for just 1 mana instant speed 2 damage. It's like, good lord, can we calm down? I think Red's got it covered. That being said, I love Red, so actually don't calm down. Give us more. Give us more cheap burn. Yeah, I'll play Golden Tail Disciple over Gravelighter. I don't want to trade my Gravelighter into their ramp card. Although maybe it would be worth it. Sometimes you want to bolt the bird. Ooh, Invigorating Hot Spring. So red-green modified is definitely the strategy here. This is a card that's going to give them counters to throw on their creatures, to have more modified creatures on the board. And all their modified creatures have haste, and as long as the Merge Keeper's modified, it taps for double green. So, yeah, really great stuff from our opponent here. Also a rare Saga here. This card looks slow and like not great, but when you stack all the cards together, it's a lot of value. They get a 1/1, turn it into a 2/2, then they get another 1/1. So for only 2 mana, they get a 2/2 and a 1/1 minimum, and when that 1/1 attacks, it turns into a 2/2 as well, so it's kind of 2 mana for 2 2/2s. Just takes a little while to set that up. Our Gravelighter is horrible now. And our Arrest is not good either, so we just play a land and pass the turn. Feels bad. I was really hoping that our opponent would be scared of a ninjutsu card and then block, because if they did, then we get to draw a card off Gravelighter at least. Alright, they have 6 mana up thanks to Orochi Merge Keeper having a token on it, having a counter on it. So they could play a 6/6, they could play the 6-drop, they could play the 6/5 Trampler and then give it haste with the Hot Springs. Luckily for us, they just play Bosiju Reaches Skyward, which is going to be quite slow. They're not going to get a creature out of that until 2 turns from now. But when they do, because of Invigorating Hot Spring, it'll have haste. They'll throw a +1/+1 counter on it and haste. Looks like they're just going to put a counter on the Merge Keeper and get in. Pretty happy with that. That's 1 less counter for them to be able to give something else haste with later. So now we have the Wandering Emperor, and that's definitely what we're going to do. We're going to flash it in for max value. I think I'd rather just hold back Disciple here, because that lets us block a 2/2 with a 2/3 lifelinker, or Cruise Soul Reaper to trade with Merge Keeper if they get in there. Shuts down all of their attacks. But now we're probably not gaining life, because they're just probably not going into combat. One thing to note here with Intercessor's Arrest, it only stops activated abilities, and the abilities on the Saga are triggered abilities. Abilities that just happen at certain times, like after your draw step, do this, Or whenever a creature enters the battlefield, do this. Or whenever this attacks, do this. Those are triggered abilities, which Intercessor's Arrest does not stop. So do not try to arrest a Saga. It will go really, really badly for you. The Saga will just keep doing everything. So you've just basically discarded the arrest if you throw it on a Saga. Grafted Growth. They get a counter on one of their cards and tap for more mana. So that will give haste because of the Invigorating Hot Spring. They make it a 3/3. They attack in, make it a 4/4 potentially. They make it a 4/4. They get a 1/1 Spirit. See what they choose. I hope they make it a 1/1. They make a 1/1 Spirit, because then I could flash in the Wandering Emperor and kill one of their creatures without even having to use the minus ability. We can just use the +1 counter and first strike here on our lifelinker. That'd be great. Nope, they're gonna get the +1/+1 counter, so that'll make that card a 4/4. Or they could put it on a different creature. Okay, they're gonna put it there. Okay, so let's attempt to cast the Wandering Emperor. If that resolves, that does resolve, so we know she's on the board. Now we'll attempt to do first strike to Disciple, block there.
Strike fast and strike hard.
Alright, and it all works out. We'll just take the 4 from the other card, but gain the 3. And now we have the Wandering Emperor just at the ready. Kill all their cards with the Gravelighter here if we want. But then we have to worry about this giant reach creature that's going to be hasting at the Wandering Emperor. We need something to block that, so that the Wandering Emperor doesn't immediately die. So we probably want to make a Samurai. Oh. I think I want to hold on to Arrest to be able to stop that. So I think I do want to... I could still exile the Merge Keeper. That's probably worth it. Exile the Merge Keeper.
I am almost...
And then I guess I have to chump block with Disciple for a turn in order to arrest the big creature there. Like, or I could play Gravelighter, but then Gravelighter just sacks itself. We kill the Spirit. And we still chump block with Disciple. Actually, I've got an idea here. This might be dumb, but I don't think the Soul Ripper is working out too well for us, because we're not going to have a lot of creatures to crew it with anyway. So I'm going to sack the Soul Ripper. To keep the Gravelighter around. I'll still have to chump with Disciple, but I think I'd rather have a 2/2 flyer than a vehicle with nothing to crew it with. Alright, give the branch haste. We have to block with Disciple. If they have removal to kill Disciple, then they kill the Wandering Emperor. But that would mean they've got one card we don't know about. It would be removal spell, kill Wandering Emperor, we deal with the branch, so they need to have removal spell plus something else. Okay, well that's removal spell plus something else. That kills both. Alright, there was straight up nothing we could do to protect the Wandering Emperor if they had Spinning Wheel Kick, because it just deals damage straight to the Planeswalker. Well, good thing we've got Intercessor's Arrest. Hopefully the last card in their hand that we don't know about is not important. But looks like we're right back at it. Top deck war time. But our opponent is ahead. They had one question mark card in hand. So it's a top deck war where they're one card ahead from the start. So we are at the disadvantage. And the first card they've dropped is really, really huge. It's a 5/5 Vigilance Haste in a turn. So we're certainly at the disadvantage here. I just realized I'm playing Sealed. This whole time when I was playing against this red-green modified deck, I'm like, oh, this seems like a sweet draft deck. They really got all the modified payoffs and stuff. This is just straight Sealed. They have this Goro they could just start making 5/5 dragons with now? It's insane. Yeah, no, we're getting we're getting pooped on now. It's over. It's incredibly over. 5/5 Vigilance Haste coming down this turn. 5/5 dragons coming down. They actually ran out of counters on their Invigorating Hot Spring, so they couldn't, they just don't have a modified creature to spit out these dragon tokens, actually, so that's rough. At least they're not making 5/5 flyers, so we're just taking 5 here, because we blocked that. Unless they drew another way to put counters down. Alright, yeah, just take 5. Not completely over yet. We have removal in the deck. We've got 2 more arrests and 1 more, Wait, where's my exiled stuff? We've got 2 more arrests, 2 more destroyed. They have double spinning wheel kick. They got 2 2-for-1 removal spells on us. That's brutal. I wonder why they did that post-combat. Could have got extra damage in there. I guess they thought I might have chump blocked. They were hoping for a chump block from us there. Well, there's the 3 arrests. That's gotta be pretty annoying for our opponent. But we're probably dead, because they can give all their creatures they draw haste still. Oh wait, no, that's activated ability. They can't. And this doesn't have any counters left, so... we do die as soon as this flips. They'll have a 2/2 haste. Oh, now we trade with the 2/2 haste. Nope. Now we have to chump block it because that's another 2 counters for their board plus a 5/5. Oh, they just held that in hand. They just have a rabbit battery too. That's game. Just sandbagging the tails to get counters on the etching, I guess. Fair enough. Well, another top deck war. That time we're going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum, though. Our opponent will draw the better cards. So, 2 games where we got into those coin flip kind of top deck wars. 1 win, 1 loss. Pretty much what you'd expect. The 50-50s there in the RNG endgames. Game 3 now. A definite keep. Definitely need to draw land, but we are on the draw, which is why I am happy to keep this, especially because the 1 card we can cast, Scry's 2, which makes sure we hit the land we need to cast the entire rest of the hand, and we did naturally draw the swamp too, so that's very helpful. Do we want another one? I'm actually going to dump that on the bottom. Sure, would let us cast Twisted Embrace, but we need another white source to cast Banishing /2, so I'm going to try to dig for that. And we can wait to cast this Twisted Embrace. We have plenty of stuff to do on turn 3, or just when we're stuck on 3 mana. So I'm gonna... I don't know if I want to just drop the Moon Sage's Sign. I feel like I don't, because I'd rather the removal doesn't kill this. What could I play that might not get blocked? I'll play the the Kitsune, but they'll probably still kill this. But this way, if we get a land next turn, and they don't have a good block for it, we could ninjutsu out the Moon Sage's Scion and try to do this just the real fast, dump a bunch of stuff out real quick. Alright. Fortunately, they do play a 3/4 to block with, so I'm just going to stack on +1/+1 to the Kitsune to really just jam in for a boatload of damage. So we're probably not doing Moon Sage's Scion anymore. It would not be worth putting our 6 power, essentially, creature back into our hand. Although it would be worth putting the Hand of Enlightenment back in hand, especially because we're going to be at 20 here, and then we cast the stuff for free. Just pay a bunch of life. Yeah, let's go for it here. Return the Hand of Enlightenment, and then we'll recast that to scry more in the future. Boop. We'll cast that for free. The 3/2 lifelinker so we can have the life to keep doing stuff. I don't need to cast their pacifism for free on their 1/4. We can still attack into that really easily, and if we can't, we have our own banishing slash to use on it to blow it up and make a 2/2. Because we control an enchantment, and we control an artifact now. So we have better removal to use on the 1/4 if we need it. Just keep getting aggressive with more creatures coming out. Also, I was unaware I could only cast one of the 2 cards. I'll be completely honest. I thought I was able to cast both, but Ambusher's definitely the better one to play first. So double removal spell it is. That'll keep them alive for a moment here. But not long, because I'm just going to make sure our Kitsune gets to attack again here. They are practically forced into the chump block. They can go to 3. Alright, they go to 3. I hope Kitsune is how you pronounce it. I think that's how I've heard it. I always say Kitsune, but I figured I should start trying to pronounce things correctly. We Google it.
Kitsune. Kitsune.
Oh, it's American pronunciation versus British pronunciation. What's the official one? Are the Brits right or are the Americans right? The age-old question. Let's arrest their biggest creature and attack in for a lot. Right? Like we hit them for 2 because they have to block these 2. So they don't get to just kill the 2/2. They have to trade into the 3/2 to survive. Oh wait, no, they have lifelink, so they can just kill the 2/2. Well, should not have attacked with the 2/2 there. Uh-oh. You're already dead to kill our big threat. Hey, there's the Wandering Emperor and another removal spell though, so... Still looks pretty good for us, but I probably shouldn't have looked away and taken my mind off of the game for a moment for Kitsune pronunciation. Because then I came back and didn't pay attention to the new cards they had on board. And I totally forgot about lifelink and stuff. Alright, so Prowler trades for Ambusher. 4 cards in hand, 3 mana up. Virus Beetle it is. Goodbye, Disciple. I probably should have done Kami, because I'm not likely to want to keep Ambusher around. Instead of just getting some creatures off their board. Yeah, I should have discarded the Kami of Terrible Secrets there. Go for it, attack all. Yeah, that's what I'm on about. That's my stuff right there. No life gain.
You protect my people. You are not much of a roadblock.
Futurist operative. Well, I was gonna say Wandering Emperor is just gonna die then, but we do have Twisted Embrace to blow up their unblockable creature to make sure Wandering Emperor does not die. Although we could also just accept she's gonna die and make a 2/2 here. Probably better. I guess we could see if this resolves, and if it doesn't resolve, then we make a 2/2. If it does, we try to keep her around. Yeah, let's try.
We've got the edge in this fight.
Imperial Subduer. Alright, she's made it another turn. Got an arrest here. Can we win on the spot? No, we only have one removal spell. Get a 2/2.
We must protect the people.
Don't have an artifact to draw a card with, but we can just play a 3/4, which is probably better than killing one of these tiny things. They're forced into a chump here. Or they die. Yep, so there's the chump. If they weren't forced into a chump block, then that wouldn't be a good attack for us, because then they could attack back. Actually, no, Subduer only taps if it attacks alone, so it would have still been okay. If Subduer was one of the cards that taps no matter what, then it wouldn't have been a good attack, because then they could kill the Wandering Emperor. Alright, so that was a pretty lucky game. We drew just a bunch of really good stuff, but part of that was being able to scry 2 twice. That was really nice with the ninjutsu there. So 2-1 now. Probably should have won a while ago. If I had paid more attention during that combat and did not throw away a 2/2 Vigilance. This is not keepable. Triple black with all white cards. Mulligan. Keep this. We are on the draw, so I might get rid of a land. Because we only need 3 mana for this hand to operate, because of ninjutsu. But I might go for the Soul Ripper here, just guarantee we're casting stuff. Soul Ripper is also our 2 mana play. So maybe that, if we're getting rid of a non-land. I'm gonna get rid of a land. Be a little bold about it. We just need to hit 1 land by turn 3. We have 3 draw steps to do it. We have a 50-50 every single turn, so we have to lose 3 coin flips. Because we've got 15 lands in this basically 30 card deck. So if we lose 3 coin flips in a row, then this hand is bad. Okay, cool. That's just, I'm really bad at like statistics and stuff, so I just like to immensely oversimplify it for myself. To think like, okay, yeah, I have to lose 3 50-50 coin flips to make this hand bad, so it's probably fine. I can't get into like the whole, what are the exact odds here? Just not smart enough for that. Could have attacked with Soul Ripper there, but I don't want to trade my Soul Ripper into this 3/2. Jukai Preservers coming on down. Put a counter on the Subduer. Now I might want to trade my Soul Ripper into it. Yeah, if it's a 4/3 for a 4/3 and their 4/3 has a better ability than mine, how many times do I have to say 4/3? That's the question. Ooh, Banishing Slash is going to be great on that Jukai Preserver once we've got an artifact creature down, so let's get an artifact creature down. Please, please do not kill my artifact or my enchantment. I need them for maximum value Banishing Slash. Alright. Please don't use a trick. I want max value Banishing Slash. Yeah. Give me that Samurai. Such a ridiculous deal every time you get that Samurai out of that card. So good. Alright, Flame Discharge to kill my 3-2. Luckily, used after the Banishing Slash, so we still get the 2-2. Alright, there's a Samurai. Do we want to Embrace or Arrest? Let's Embrace here, because we're going to keep attacking them. So the sooner we use Embrace, the more damage we get out of it. And then we'll just arrest the next 2 creatures they play, and hopefully that's enough to just kill them. Keep enough pressure down. I probably should have kept that in hand in case they have any discard, but they haven't played any black mana. So they probably don't have discard against us. Careful Cultivation for a woman that taps for green. They can cast double green spells now. They have the like 5 mana 4/4 reach, or the 6 mana 6/5 or anything like that. It looks like just a bunch of little creatures on the ground. And an Invigorating Hot Spring as well to throw +1/+1 counters around where they need them. They're going to suit up one really big Kami of Transience, so we'll just say no. And then send in. We could arrest their Hot Spring. You've violated the health code standards too many times. Your onsen has been shut down. That is genuinely an option if we want them to not get any more +1/+1 counters on stuff. But it's probably better to just play Centipede and then arrest one of their 3 creatures. If they play another creature here. If they don't play another creature here, they just straight up die. Because I arrest one of the 2 and hit them for 5 damage. So they block the 4 power one. Alright, they still have whatever ability this does. Beginning of their end step, if one of their enchantments was put into their graveyard from the battlefield, they can return this from the grave to hand. Okay, so that doesn't matter. The other ability only matters when it's in the graveyard. Selfless Samurai, so if they attack with just a warrior or a samurai, they can sacrifice that to give a thing indestructible. Or no, sorry. They get lifelink if they attack with just that. The other part they can use at any time. Doesn't matter what's going on. And unfortunately, they're going to give it flying too. So flying lifelink can just gain 1,000,000 life here. They're up to 7. Up to 7, we can hit them for 5 and put them to 2 if I pacify one of their creatures. That does not seem worth it. We'll let them double block a 2/2 samurai if they want to. I guess they could double block the centipede here. That would be bad. That would not be ideal. So because they can double block the centipede, I'm going to reconfigure onto the disciple so they can't kill the centipede. And then attack these 2. They have to block something. They can double block the samurai if they want. But we arrest the selfless samurai then after that. And then they're out of creatures. If they double block the samurai, they're completely out of creatures. They have to just draw 1 immediately or they're super dead. Yeah, this seems good to me. Because we get rid of everything on board if they try to kill the samurai here. And they do. So super happy with this post-combat arrest. Alright. We have 2 creatures out as well because of the way Reconfigure works, so it would have to be a really good draw for them. Reconfigure is just so sick. So that was our second win? Our third win. 3-1 now. You do have to win a lot of games to get your gyms back in sealed because you are getting 6 packs. You're getting 9 packs no matter what. They don't change the pack payout. So 9 packs for 2,000 gyms. I don't know what the normal price is, but that's probably a lot, right? Let's see. What is the pack price generally? 6 packs is 1,200 gems, and then 3 packs is 600, so it costs 1,900 gems 1,900 gems to get the 9 packs that you get out of this, so you only need to get 100 gems back for it to be equivalent of just buying the packs. So yeah, I guess sealed is technically good value if you're somebody who likes to buy booster packs on Arena, but no. Disgusting. I don't like buying packs, I gotta play with my packs. Alright, well this is a ridiculous hand. This will be the first time we cast our Restoration of Ajango. We keep drawing it with just better cards to play turn 3. Or just drawing it like late game when we have like stuff like this in hand. So this time we'll actually cast it, see if we can't attack with an Architect of Restoration and get some 1/1 spirit tokens. Well, we might not be casting it again. We might be playing a different 3-mana card yet again. Era of Enlightenment from our opponent. Alright, that's going to be a 2/2 first striker by the time our Moon Sage's Scion would be attacking, so now I'm back on the Restoration of Ajango plan, because this is 2 toughness. And I just realized I'm almost definitely saying that right. It's probably Igonjo, a hard G, because it's not a J there. It's probably Restoration of Igonjo. Everything at all times will always be pronounced incorrectly by me, my apologies. Okay, so let's get, Gravelighter would be so bad here. Let's drop our Restoration. Grab a Plains so we can cast Wandering Emperor next turn. Opponent's Sagas are going off. They've got a 2/2 first striker down. They're going to get a 2/3 next turn. They've gained a ton of life off of them. They've gained 6 life off their 2 Sagas. So they're at 26 over there. What is the next part of this? Oh, I can get a permanent with mana value 2 or less from grave to battlefield, so it's nothing. It's the third part that matters. Get the 3/4 down. Mukotai Ambusher. Hey, there's our own Mukotai Ambusher. Let me see how this works here. Do I get to pull the land back if I discard it right now? Oh, hey, it does a thing. It ramped us. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Alright, well, it did a thingy. Kami of Terrible Secrets. They do have an artifact enchantment down, so they will draw a card. Pretty great deal. So I can flash in the Wandering Emperor and -1 to kill the Ambusher by blocking with a 2/2, or -2 to kill the first striker. I think I want to just -1 here to kill the Ambusher.
I've learned much during my travel. Guards, to me.
Okay. Now we've got our 3/4 down. That'll help block well. We have 6 mana as well because we ramped up. So we can play Moon Sage Scion and Golden Tail Disciple and make a 2/2 to be really safe in terms of blockers. I think that's what I want to do here. And then next turn I'll start putting counters on the 3/4 to get that in and attacking. Could play Gravelighter instead here, but I don't think I want to. Gravelighter would be a little bold for me. The idea behind Gravelighter is we get to sacrifice our 2/2, they have to sack a better creature, and then we have a flyer down to be able to ninjutsu the Nashi out. But I really want to protect Wandering Emperor rather than go for maximum Nashi value. Ooh, Twisted Embrace destroys the Wandering Emperor.
Back to wandering.
Back to wandering. I'm sorry. R.I.P. Well, now what? We could attack with the Architect, but then they just double block. 3/4 and a 2/3. Yeah, we don't have attacks here. Kind of a top deck war. Probably play our artifact creature, so next turn we can draw a card off of it. And I guess, yeah, it's a good opportunity to Gravelighter here. Get rid of our 2/2. Well, now if they want to kill the Architect, they have to double block with these two, and we get to kill their first striker. Otherwise, it bounces off, and I just get a 1/1 for free. Alright, bounces off, I just get a 1/1 here. Our board state's definitely better, because it's wider, but just don't have a lot of great attacks in still. I'd like to scry 2 before I draw. That was a great draw. Scry 2. Wow, they're just solid cards. I don't think the lifelinker is going to matter much here, but it's still better than not drawing a creature, so I think I'm just going to keep it. Instead of like dig closer to more lands, potentially. Now they can double block with 2 3/4s and not even lose a creature to kill the Architect, though. So that's not good. You know, actually, I probably should have put Golden Tail Disciple on the bottom, because the thing that I'm not considering here is it doesn't really matter how big my board is as long as they have 3/3s and 3/4s. I'm just never getting in, so probably should have just ditched it, try to dig deeper towards removal. Because currently I'm only attacking with a 2/2 every turn. That's it. And it's gonna stay that way. Although, the ninjutsu combo here is gonna be really sweet. Like, the Blade Blizzard Kitsune was a very good draw. Because we hit for a little more damage this turn, and then we trade our 1/1 into their 3/3 first strike, probably. Or one of the 3/4s, either way. Is pretty excellent. Nice. Now I get to attack with the 3/4s on the ground now, because the only way they kill them is a double block. With something that'll actually die. Alright, they're just going to scoop them up. We've got a much bigger board than theirs, even if it is going to take a while to chip in. Opponent sees the writing on the wall. While it is going to take a while to chip in against their blockers, we are in a position where our opponent can basically never attack into us, at least. So, definitely at the advantage there, and we will now be 4-1. Opponent is on the play here, so we're on the draw, but I do like this hand. Hotshot Mechanic turn 1, Nashi turn 3, or try to ninjutsu it out. Ooh, we might be able to turn 2 ninjutsu an ambusher. That'd be incredible. That would be really living the dream here. Yeah, no 2-drop from our opponent, so I think it's going to happen. 3/2 lifelinker on the board attacking turn 2. That is why just having 1-mana creatures is so nice when you have 2-mana ninjutsu effects like that. So the one of Hotshot Mechanic doing some serious work. Web Spinner Cuff. Well, there goes our good attacks. We still gain life, which is nice. And I think I'd rather just hardcast this than play Nashi again. Or than play Hotshot Mechanic again. Because then next turn we have the potential to Twisted Embrace to get an attack in with Nashi if they don't use removal on them. Which will be really, really good if it goes off. And if it doesn't go off, then we can just cast the Wandering Emperor. That has been a pretty big way to win some of these games. So they have 4 mana here sitting behind their Web Spinner Cuff. They're 1/4 reach. They can reconfigure around for +1/+4 reach. This card's just really hard to get through because like reconfiguring is just insane. Put Nashi back to our hand here. Make sure they don't have to deal with that ability. Fair enough. Send in the Ambusher, and if they block with the 2/2, we can just drop the Wandering Emperor. Or we can just play the Hotshot Mechanic plus Nashi here. Let's go for the attack here. See if we get the kill on the specialist. We do.
Fine. I'm home. Strike fast and strike hard.
If they have a combat trick or some kind of equipment to buff their card, they could kill the Wandering Emperor here, but she's gotten good value even if she dies immediately. If she dies immediately, we still basically got to use her as a removal spell in that 2/2, and then use her as a spell to get rid of whatever combat trick they're using to kill her. So a 2-for-1 even if she dies immediately, and if she doesn't die immediately, then as usual with Planeswalkers, she will absolutely take over the game, be a 3 or 4-for-1 even. They're going to hit her for 2 here. Down to 2, but still alive. And Kodama of the West Tree is the next play from our opponents. Kill that with a Twisted Embrace here to keep getting in. Although I could also have just put a counter on this, but I think I want to spread out here. Get another Samurai.
We must protect the people.
Behold the Unspeakable does shut down a lot of our power here, and then they'll draw a bunch of cards off of it and get a big old spirit. Well, the spirit won't be that big because of their... they just don't have a lot of cards in hand. Alright, well, we get to Ninjutsu Nashi down now, which I think is worth losing a 2/2 Vigilant creature. So I am going to Ninjutsu out Nashi to get that that triggered ability here. We have so much life here. You can easily pay for these spells. Scry 2, there's an arrest and a land. Keep the arrest, land on the bottom, cast our creature for turn. To block and protect the Wanderer. Feels like another game where we're just absolutely going off 2 mythics here. Really rude stuff. They are drawing some cards here, but it's 5-37. So it would require a very good comeback from our opponent. Network Disruptor taps down the Silencer, make sure they get to kill the Wandering Emperor. Can't be too unhappy about that. She's done a lot of work for us thus far.
I'll be back.
Modern Age. Not another blocker, they're still dead on board. To our 3-power creature plus 2-power creature. There's another blocker, so they're no longer dead on board, but Intercessor's Arrest would be enough if they can't deal with any of our creatures to maintain lethal here. I should put that on Disruptor instead, just in case they somehow survive here. Because that can technically still tap for mana, so it still does something. So attack all, they can block the 6/5, take 5. Destroy the 6/5, alright. We'll get a land out, which will matter because it lets us cast our Goshintai of Shared Purpose. Choose to block the 3/2 to keep us from casting another spell. And then here's our Goshintai of Shared Purpose. So there's Vision of the Unspeakable from our opponent, which is just a 1/1 for now, but they can crack their Rockside Reliquary to draw 2 cards. And it will be a 3/3 because they have to discard a card right now. That's why it's going to be a 1/1. So they're going to have a 2/5 reach blocker and a 3/3 blocker. So they can definitely survive. They take 1 damage from Goshintai, block the other 2, and kill the other 2, so I don't think we're going to have a good attack here against a 2/5 and a 3/3. But we've got a really good way to try to close out this game, just keep getting 1/1s every turn no matter what. And as soon as we have 3 more creatures than our opponent, we can just attack with everybody. But that might take quite a while because they're about to flip the Modern Age next turn into another blocker. Let alone they could cast one from hand. Well, if they play cards out of hand here, Vision might get small enough to die when it blocks, instead of just eating our 2/1 without trading to it. Awakened Awareness. Okay, so put a bunch of counters on it. Now it is definitely a big enough blocker, but that's top deck. That's a very rude, very good top deck here, and that's just lethal. That's just 3 damage. Block the 3/2 and take 3. Really, really lucky games here overall. Round 7 here, we've got some excellent stuff. A definite keep. The Banishing Slash has just always been nuts. We've got our turn 2 Silencer to have a creature on board, and we've got removal and more threats to back it up. We even just drew into our Mythic Rare Nashi there. Should have played the Plains first, just in case I needed the Banishing Slash turn 2, but that was a pretty unlikely occurrence. Alright, Bearer of Memory. Just gonna offer the trade here. Could discard a card in hand to kill that. Am I going to want to play Kami of Terrible Secrets turn 4? No, I'm not going to have an artifact and enchantment on the board for quite some time. Sure. Let's just kill that Bearer of Memory. Even if they didn't want to trade. And now I'll play the Restoration of Iganjo. Because if they don't play a creature, I can still ninjutsu out this to get the ability going. And if they do play a creature, it's already just going to be able to block the Nashi and mess me up anyway. So let's go ahead and do the ramp thing. Get our land back. Attack. Ninjutsu. You can deal 4 to an attacking creature here. Yep. They've got it. About to have our 3/4 Vigilance that spits out 1/1s with nothing to compete with it on board, which is quite nice. Play our Golden Tail Disciple and our Silencer again. And just have 3 removal spells back up. Feeling pretty good about this game. Our opponent's stuck on 3 still. Looks like all they had to play were these 2. Everything else in hand is like 4 or 5 mana or more. Which does mean their cards are going to be more impactful, but when we can trade for them all 1 for 1 with these cheap cards, we'll be in a really good position. Oh no, they had the Fall of Lord Konda stuck in hand that just doesn't do anything here. Yeah, at first I was pretty high on that card. I played it in a white-black draft that I did, but the more I've played the format, the more I've just seen this card just absolutely hose people. Mainly my opponents, because I usually play pretty aggressive decks. It actually has worked pretty okay for me. But everybody playing against me is just often not playing against a lot of 4 mana or greater cards, and they're like, well poop. Twisted Embrace, is that lethal? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, but it's close enough. Still just do it. Like, we're definitely playing a removal spell here. We might as well play the one that gets extra damage on the board. They're down to 2. Could have destroyed the Fall of Lord Konda there to Make sure they don't draw a card off of it when I destroy it. If I try to destroy it right now, they're already just straight dead on board, so we'll just attack. And there's the concession from our opponent. We are now 6-1 heading into what could be the final boss, but even if we lose, we've got one more chance. Here we are in what could be the final round. Our opponent's on the play. We've got a Hotshot Mechanic, Golden Tail Disciple, and 2 removal spells. Pretty solid hand, lots of good early game plays. Just looking for some more creatures to kind of fill out the curve as we continue. And we should have a game here. Opponent starts with a great turn 1 card, Okiba Reckoner Raid, drains us for 2 life, and then spits out a 2/2 Menace. So an incredibly good deal for just 1 mana. Just a little slow to get operating. Definite attack with Hotshot Mechanic here. I will trade for that Arm Guard Familiar all day long, because this is quite impactful later in the game, plus really hard to target, requiring 2 extra mana to do so. Alright, we'll attack with the Hotshot Mechanic. If they want to trade, then the trade will happen. If they don't want to trade, Dakushi Silencer will make sure the trade happens anyway. Unfortunately, because of Ward, though, we can't kill the Arm Guard Familiar. But if we just kill everything else on their board, then the Arm Guard Familiar won't do much. So that is a thing to consider. See if they want to take the trade here. If they don't want to take the trade, I don't think I'm discarding a creature this time. Alright, the trade will happen this time, which I'm actually pretty happy with. 2/3 Lifelinker holds off the Arm Guard Familiar. Chainflail Centipede does not. And if we want to get in for 4 damage, we can also just play the Centipede and equip it next turn instead. And then we're still getting in for more damage. Ooh, but we drew a Goshintai of Shared Purpose, which I would love to just play and start getting 1/1s out of. I probably should have attacked there. I think trading Disciple into just a Familiar is a decent trade, because this card's getting to the point where it's definitely active. They have the 4 mana to reconfigure it, and they have other creatures out. Opponent scries 1 to the bottom with the Moonfolk Puzzlemaker. Ninjutsu's a Moon Circuit Hacker down to draw a card here. Probably recast the 1/4 flyer here. Although there's a 4th mana. Could be something else then. Tamio's Completion to keep Goshintai of Shared Purpose tapped down and make it lose all of its abilities. Yeah, weirdly enough, I really dislike when they have cards like Intercessor's Arrest that don't let activated abilities happen.
I am proud
And
to fight
cards like Tamio's Completion that make somebody lose all abilities, period, in the same set. I don't know, it just feels inconsistent to me. It's just there to annoy me. Alright, Chainflail Centipede is down. We can start racing really well with this Golden Tail Disciple. And I'm going to hold the 1/1 Spirit back. I could make an attack with it here and it'd be fine, but rather hold it back to stop them from doing their draw discard thing with the Moon Circuit Hacker. Well, Twisted Embrace is pretty good there on the Golden Tail Disciple, but because the way Reconfigure works, the Chainflail Centipede is still around, which is super sweet. Oh, got double arrest. We could just arrest both creatures and hit for 5, but then we don't have any rests left, so that seems like not what I want to do. Okay, play a Disciple. I really don't want to lose my Centipede. My Centipede is by far my best attacker. So So I think I'm just going to keep using it to reconfigure so that every creature I want just becomes the best attacker I have each turn to keep pushing in. And I think if they just like attack all here, I'm just going to take it this turn. So we're getting close to where a double arrest is actually something I'd be interested in. Alright, no attacks. Still holding them back here. They have a 1/4 now though, so... The 3/1, not a particularly good attacker. A 4/3 trades into Circuit Hacker still, but we gain 4 life in the process. Could get rid of Moon Circuit Hacker, but then they double block with these two and it trades, because that's still 3 power and 6 toughness. So actually, I actually just don't think we're attacking then. We're just waiting to see who draws better, but for now, we could actually shut off one of their blockers. So that next turn we shut off the other one and get in. I think I want to do it to the reconfigure card. Actually, I can't. I need 5 mana up to do that, so because I reconfigured awkwardly, I couldn't. Let's just shut down the puzzle makers so they don't sit here scrying while we stare at each other. Uh-oh. Well, I was going to say thus begins the top deck war, but that will immediately end the top deck war. Opponent has won the top deck war. Inventive iteration. To save their card from our arrest, they can just replay it next turn. The next turn, they get an artifact back from grave, so if we attack it and make any trades here with the centipede, they'll just put the centipede right back into their hand, and then they also get a 3/3 flyer. So another one of these sagas is just an incredible deal. And I think I have to wait till that becomes a flyer and then just arrest the flyer. So that shuts off any of our aggressive plans here. Puzzle Maker's back. Equip it with the familiar, make it a 3/5. There's Twisted Embrace to kill the Puzzle Maker, and then Arrest to kill the 3/3 flyer next turn. Make a 3/4 blocker. They need to double block to kill it, but it's not big enough to kill both. I could make a 3/4 blocker and then a 3/4 and then make it a 5/4 by equipping Centipede to it. That seems good. Right, they have to double block to kill this still, and I kill both creatures that block when they go for it. Alright, that's a great deal to me. I love getting rid of their Arm Guard Familiar. And their Chainflow Centipede. Actually, just getting rid of reconfigure cards is excellent. And now we'll arrest the flyer, and we're kind of back to staring at each other. Prosperous Thief. They get treasure tokens, and it costs 3, so I can't cast a 3-mana spell because of Living Breakthrough. Seems good. So we'll have to wait a turn to get rid of Living Breakthrough then. The flavor text ability just here to annoy me. This just triggers off ninjas. Yeah, ninjas and rogues, let them draw the card. Ooh, Banishing Slash. Alright, I got multiple artifacts and enchantments. I'll go ahead and get a 2/2 Samurai while using my removal spell. Seems good to me. their Saga back on top of their library. They can bounce cards again. Let's see if we can get our 1/1 to trade up, and if it doesn't, at least we hit for 3. Nice. 1/1 trades up into the 3/2. That has a good ability. Return up to 1 creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Would I rather block with this to stop them from... They just get a treasure token? I don't really care about that. So let's just make it so they can't bounce the centipede, just for fun. Bounce my centipede now. I dare you. Because I'm not going to trade my 4/2 into their 3/2. Put the thief back in their hand. I guess just for fun, so they can untap it, have vigilance there. That's cute. So now that we save the centipede, because it was undercover, we get to attack for 4 and they have no blockers. But then they're going to get Arm Guard Familiar back next turn. That's if I arrest the thief here. I don't know, I think it's worth it. Put them down to 7. Now they have 1 blocker this turn. If we draw any removal, we win on the spot. Unless they drew another creature. Yep, there's the Arm Guard Familiar back to hand. What? Double Inventive Iteration in their sealed pool? That's brutal. 2 of the same rare here. Yep. Well, it's over then. I could attack with one of these to trade into one of theirs, or I could attack with both and trade with both, and they get a 3/3 flyer, then they get another 3/3 flyer after that. They're going to get another artifact back from their grave, which is going to be their centipede, or their flyer, or anything. Yeah, the second copy of Inventive Iteration is going to destroy the aggressive hopes and dreams. And they get to cast a 3-mana card when they have Living Breakthrough down, so I can't cast 3-mana cards this turn. So I can't cast a 2-mana card this turn, because they cast a 2-mana spell. Oh, but they didn't cast a 3-mana spell, so I guess I can. Oh, uh-oh. Use their treasure token. Yeah, can't cast a 2 or a 3 then. There's another Living Breakthrough now. Ooh, in Life of Toshiro Umezawa, one of the best sagas in the game. Well, in the set. Could get a bunch of damage in here. Now I just can't cast a 2-drop. Guess if I draw a removal spell, I win. Nashi's actually huge. No, we're at 7 life. Nashi is not huge. I have to win right now or I die. And I can't. Unless they just choose not to block at all. The only way they might choose not to block is if I arrest the thief, I guess. Because then they might not want to block with Living Breakthrough. Oh, wait, no, it's 7 damage they have to block. Yep. That's just game, unless I draw Miracle off of Nashi, I guess. These are not miracles. That's going to be game. The life of Toshiro Umezawa there. +2/+2. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in the sky. Death of the Kami, they can exile their Prosperous Thief if I choose creatures. I guess Debt to the Kami on enchantments, I could have exiled that and went to 1 life off of their attacks this turn. So I guess I had a really, really tiny chance with Debt to the Kami to make them exile an enchantment. Actually, no, I didn't. Because if I chose to make them exile an enchantment, they can exile Tamio's completion. So yeah, 12 damage in the sky either way. Alright, we're on the play here, which is awkward because the hand's so expensive in general. We have to draw lands, but if we do, this hand looks nigh unbeatable. I feel like I'm supposed to mulligan because we're not guaranteed to cast anything until turn 4, even if we hit lands. But it's just like a stack of the strongest cards in the whole deck. I'm just going to cross my fingers and see what happens here. We can't be too unhappy with whatever happens. A 6-3 run is still a great run, getting all of our prizes back out of the event. There's the first land, and we did draw a 3-mana card, so we can just play the Golden Tail Disciple here. So now we only need 1 land to cast pretty much everything. Everything but Naomi. They'll offer the trade here. I think I'll take the trade. They have some kind of weird trick. I guess we get rid of that instead. Tatsunari Toad Rider. That is not okay with me. That is super not okay with me. So we are really hoping to hit the mana to Twisted Embrace or the Wandering Emperor to get rid of Tatsunari. But if they just play an enchantment this turn, we're in for World of Hurt. This card is incredible. It's 3 mana for 2 3/3s, basically. All they have to do is cast a single enchantment spell, and if they have cast an enchantment spell, then they just spent 3 mana to get 2 3/3s, which is an absolute beating in Limited. And there you go. They did it. 3 mana for 2 3/3s it is. No blocks here. We're going to go ahead and Banishing Slash Tatsunari. That way we have a way to kill it even if we don't hit a land. Would we rather arrest Tatsunari or Banishing Slash it? We'd rather Banishing Slash it because it has a good triggered ability, and Intercessor's Rest does not stop triggered abilities. Unfortunately, they get to keep Kaimi, the legendary frog. And now whenever they cast an enchantment spell, we are getting drained for a life. So we're still in pain. Cycle a Greater Tanuki, at least that's a 6/5 trample we don't have to deal with later. Unless they probably have the card that returns an enchantment and a creature from their grave to hand. It's actually going to be really bad for us if they do, because then Tatsunari and Greater Tanuki come back to hand. The relatively terrible time, I would say. I'm just going to pass turn here, because that'll allow me to use the Wandering Emperor to kill their 3/3 legendary frog and plus the Wandering Emperor at the same time, because we can just give our Hotshot mechanic a +1/+1 counter in first strike. And if they play around it, then we get to just make a Samurai or something here. Grafted Growth. Alright, that's sort of playing around it. That'll make the frog a 4/4. So close enough. I guess we just exile the frog then, if they attack with it. Alright. Wandering Emperor is going to be huge here. It gives us a shot at coming back from the early card advantage our opponent got from getting 2 3/3s off one card. So if we can 2-for-1 with the Wandering Emperor, we make up for their earlier 2-for-1.
Like water.
And looks like we can, because we removed one of their creatures. So now, worst case scenario is they can kill the Wandering Emperor. If they do, that's them using a removal spell on it. That's a 2-for-1.
Show them how we greet our enemies.
I would love to have an enchantment down by the time I play this Naomi, but all our enchantments are removal spells, so I think we just play Naomi, and then if we need to use a removal spell next turn, we get to use a removal spell and then attack with her, and when we attack with her, we still get that samurai that we would have got later by playing her later. Oh no! Well, there goes the Wandering Emperor. But I think Naomi's going to be more than fast enough to still win this game. The problem is we don't have a good way to put an enchantment out, do we? I guess we could arrest a land or destroy nothing. Just get +1/+1 and start making 2/2s. What's the next form of this? Return up to one other non-land permanent to its owner's hand, then each opponent discards a card. Okay, no, we definitely don't want to Twisted Embrace here, do we? Because then they bounce whatever we put the Embrace on. Get the 2-for-1. Once they flip it, this is like a big scary creature, but we can just kill it. Yeah, because it doesn't do anything till it attacks, so we just kill it once it flips. I think we're fine. We'll just cast more creatures here. So even if they bounce Naomi, we've got 2 creatures on the board attacking next turn. They do bounce Naomi. Let's get rid of Intercessor's Arrest. We'll keep the Twisted Embrace because it buffs and removes. Okiba Salvage, make a big old Greater Tanuki. Well, now we're down to 1 removal spell, so that is a problem. Yeah, I think that just gets to resolve because we need to Twisted Embrace the 6/6 Flying Trample, don't we? If I just Twisted Embrace right now, I don't have the mana to play Naomi, but I do hit them for 7. So I hit them for 7, they go down to 4 life, and then I attack both next turn. They block the 4 power, take 3, go to 1. I think it's better to just cast Naomi and Embrace next turn. Because then we can put the Embrace on Naomi to make her 5 power and kill their bigger creature, and then a 5 power creature gets to attack into the Tanuki and trade in. Yeah, there's a lot of things that go well. Just embracing next turn instead. Just don't think we quite have the damage output to try to race Okagashi. Ecologist's Terrarium. They can sacrifice that at sorcery speed to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. Hopefully they don't put one on Tanuki, because then we wouldn't be able to attack in with a Twisted Embrace on Naomi. Ooh, attack in with Tanuki, no blocks, and we just swing in for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Exact lethal. Oh, but they get to untap it and give it +6, because 6 is the greatest. That was a great combat trick to have in hand. That's about 1,000,000 damage. Counter on Okagachi, please. Fingers crossed. Counter on Tanuki. Alright. Well, that's not great for us, but we'll still be okay here. Because Naomi's not going to be big enough to attack into that anyway, I'm going to buff the lifelinker. So we gain more life when we go for the double block to kill Tanuki, so that we're super safe. And Air of Enlightenment hopefully sets us up to draw into some gas. That's some gas right there. Another Intercessor's Arrest. Yeah, that Bone of Besiju was terrifying. The Boon of Besiju. One card in hand here. 7/6 Adorable Tanuki. Send it in. If it's another Boon of Besiju, that's going to be 13 with Trample. We're at 4. We're gaining 4 and blocking 3. We're stopping 7 damage here. So unless they can give it plus 4, then we're still alive. If I double block with Naomi and Ambusher, then we survive. We survive even if they do have +6/+6. But then I can't make any more 2/2s. This stops 7. How am I gonna die when this stops 7 damage? That's got to be +4/+4. Well, that'll do it. Oh, that will certainly do it. So what happens when we go for that double block there that plays around the boon? They shoot the lifelinker, kill that, deal 3 damage to me still. I'm at 1 life, and then I arrest that and attack them for 3, but then I go to 3. I'm still at... still not in a great spot, but I'm in a better spot, so... I guess we should have double blocked there. Well, that's a brutal way to end it, but... There was, what, like 50 gems on the line? Or 500 gems on the line or something? Already still in the money. Yeah, there were 200 gems. There was basically nothing on the line at all, so don't gotta feel too bad about that one. But in the future, probably would go for that double block. Because, like, I don't know, my whole thing there is, like, we play better against the immediate lethal cards, but then if they just don't have a trick at all, that's so much worse for us. Although I suppose if they didn't have a trick at all, they'd probably just hold it back, because then they know we're not attacking with Naomi. I don't know, it's a rough position there, probably played incorrectly, but either way, a nice 6-3 run out of here, 2,000 gems, and 3 packs, basically as much prizes as we were going to get. Far more than close enough, but that is going to end this sealed event, and that will end today's video. As always, if you enjoy these videos and you'd like to see more, just stick around on the channel for more. You can also like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send some more of these videos your way. You can check out the Twitch channel link in the description below, where I occasionally play some drafts. I am going to be trying to hit Mythic Limited this month to qualify for the little draft invitational coming out next month. So I'll be doing some streams. And yeah, until next time, as always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.